So really quickly, let's talk about humanitarian pathways that could get you a green card. These humanitarian options can be life changers, so listen up. Option number one, asylum. So if you're inside the United States and you don't have any family member or loved one that could file for you, you may qualify for asylum if you're from Haiti or from any one of the countries that have TPS currently or in the past. To qualify for asylum, you must have a fear of persecution for your life, meaning if you get deported back to the country where you're from, you're going to fear persecution for your life. Now, this fear must come from your political belief, your religious belief, because of your race or your nationality, or because you belong to a social group, which in your country, that social group is common for them to be persecuted. For example, homosexuals. Normally, to qualify for asylum, you must have filed asylum within 1 year of your entry inside the United States. However, there are exceptions to that 1 year. One of the biggest exceptions is your country condition. For example, let's say when you came inside the United States, you didn't come because of a fear of persecution, but while you were living in the United States, something really bad happened in your country, something really bad happened to family members in your country, and now you fear if you go back because of this change of condition, and then whoever persecuted your family will be after you now because you're part of that family. Now you have a new fear of persecution, a new fear for going back. The conditions have changed, so you may qualify under that exceptions. There are a few other exceptions to the 1 year rule that you may qualify for. So if you're in the United States, you haven't filed your asylum, please speak with an attorney, because once you do file for asylum, what happens next is that you would file it with USCIS, and then they'll give you an interview. We don't know when that interview would be, but while you're waiting, after a certain amount of days, you will get your work permit, so you'll be able to work here while you're waiting on that interview. Once you go to that interview, if all goes well and your asylum is granted, then you'll get your green card. So that's a great option if you don't have anyone that could file for you here and you are here and you do fear going back home. Humanitarian option number two, U visa. Now, U visa protects you if you were a victim of a violent crime. Now, this could be sexual violence against you, it could be sex trafficking, assault, domestic violence. As long as you're a victim of a crime, you may qualify for the U visa. You have to help law enforcement officer with the investigation of that crime, and you must get a certification that says that, hey, you were a victim of that crime, and you get that certification from law enforcement officers or the courts if you help them by being a witness against the person who victimized you. Once you get that certification, you send your application in. While you wait, you get a work permit. If your U visa card gets approved, then you qualify to apply for your green card after 3 years. So another good option for you. Humanitarian option number three is VAWA, VAWA, Violence Against Women Act. Men is also included in this act. This is if you were a victim of domestic violence against your U.S. citizen spouse or green card holder spouse, or U.S. citizen / green card holder parent or child. If you're a victim of their abuse, then you may qualify for VAWA. You won't need them to file this application for you, meaning you could file this application without them. Once you file your VAWA application, once it's approved, you may file for your green card immediately thereafter. So that's another way you could get your green card. Finally, humanitarian pathway to getting your green card. Number four, T visas. A T visa protects victims of human trafficking. So victims of sex trafficking, also labor trafficking. So there's two types of trafficking. If you were brought into the United States, like you were forced or fraudulently brought into the United States. You thought, hey, you were going to come to do something else, and whoever brought you here is using you as a sex slave, or trafficking you for sex, or trafficking you for labor, meaning that, hey, you're working for them and they're paying you less than minimum wage, or where you're working at, you're pretty much in prison. You can't go out, you can't use your own money, you don't even see how much your paycheck is. Anything that's out of the ordinary of the employee employer relationship, as far as your wages and the condition of your work, because you're an immigrant. If you're in that situation and you are still physically inside of the United States, and you are a victim of sex trafficking or labor trafficking, you do have to report it to the proper authorities. And if they need your help with the investigation of this crime, then yes, you're there to help to investigate. You can report this anonymously, so don't be afraid reporting either your boss or your spouse if your spouse is just using you for sex and work only. You may qualify for a T visa under those circumstances too. Now, if you believe that you do qualify for the T visa, you hire an attorney, you file the proper paperwork. If USCIS believe that, hey, you are a victim of sex trafficking or labor trafficking, then if your application is approved, as long as you've been living here inside the United States continuously for 3 years, then you could go ahead and apply for your green card. But while you're waiting to apply for your green card, you will qualify for a work permit, so you'll be able to work. You do have to prove that you would suffer an extreme hardship if you were deported back home, but you could talk more about that with your attorney if you believe that you may fall under one of these circumstances. Really look at your employer, because a lot of time people are being labor trafficked and they don't even know it. So sometimes you feel like you're being paid a great wage, but you're not even being paid minimum wage. So definitely speak with an attorney if you think that you fall within those parameters. So those are 4 top humanitarian ways that you can get your green card here inside of the United States without having someone file for you. They're humanitarian visas that qualifies you for your green card. So it means that, hey, something happened to you, you are a victim. So for that, I'm sorry, but at least it's a pathway to getting your green card. So something like any of the items that I spoke of does happen to you, know that you don't just have to be a victim of those circumstances, that you could turn that around and become an advocate and a green card holder, meaning a resident, and 5 years after that, a United States citizen. So Rolande Adolph with Adolph Law Group just wanted to make sure that you know of these different pathways. If you have any questions on immigration issues, ask and I'll answer. Have a great night. Ciao.